You are about to see mutilated corpses, burning tank carcasses, and all out mayhem, brought to you by Frontline Fatalities.
Sup, COH fans, and welcome to episode 70 of Frontline Fatalities, brought to you by the Frontline Network, presented by me, FatalSaint, and my good friend Tommy. What's up, Tommy?
Hey, Fatal, just hearing you say that big number 70 makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. It's just got that great ring to it. And, you know, we've been stuck in the 60s for a long time. We thought we were going to finish at 50. Now we've just got so many.
Yeah, 20 episodes past our, we'll easily get to 50 before Company of Heroes 2 rolls out. Yeah. 70 episodes, like, what the hell? We're 20 episodes overdue. But we'll have to make do, and for that we are digging deep in the barrel of replays, and we've dug up our old replay between Symbiosis and KeyofWall on Longre. You ready to go, Tommy?
I'm ready.
And pause in 3, 2, 1, unpause. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And it's looking like Symbiosis is doing a 4 or a 3 engineer start. So far he's only got 2 engineers queued up. And this replay is not a year old, but it's fairly close to a year old. So 3 years at, I think they posted somewhere around May, June 2012.
Yeah, so the metagame hasn't changed a whole lot since then. I mean, I'll be interested in seeing what we see from these players, but I think we are in for a long slugfest, judging by the file size.
Yeah,
so
we do
I'm
have
excited.
3 years, and he's built, his barracks a little bit less than 50% done with his first engineer out of the headquarters, while the first engineer that you start with is just capping around. And at the same time, we do have the Wehrmacht quarters actually being put on the right-hand side for KeyofWall, so he's going for that right-hand side focus, I guess.
It's a sensible move if he's going to be playing a quite aggressive Wehrmacht. You often see more passive players will go on left, and more aggressive players will go on the right, because the passive players can stick quite close to their base, and they can hold on to that very juicy plus 16 munitions all game. Whereas a more aggressive player who's going for the base pin at the expense of his own territory will go for the right.
Yeah, I guess you just have easier access to the fuel on the right-hand side, and, coming out from your base, not having to pass the negative cover road. If the American player becomes aggressive and puts his rifle at the green cover of the hay bale, is that basically the thought of it? Just faster access to the base pin or something?
Yeah, exactly. It's easier to move on to the right, and it means that you're much less likely to lose hold of your own cutoff. But I think, with this 3ES, Symbiosis is able to grab that middle building, which just so controls the way that Lungra flows. Whoever controls that building tends to control the early game.
Yeah, in the current metagame, that building plays a fairly large role for Wehrmacht players, doesn't it? I think we've talked about this, that, an MG in that position is very strong nowadays.
Yeah, we get it. We're seeing a lot of players. I know all the sort of the big 4 players, Aliad, Symbiosis, DevM, not Aimstrong, but those 3, they all have a very similar build order for this map as Access, which is to rush an MG into that middle building, because he has such great arcs of fire over just about, so many points. It can cover the cutoff, it covers 2 munitions points, and it covers the southern fuel, so, it's an incredibly powerful building.
Yeah, and it's a very strong building, stone building, and it can take a lot of flak before it goes down. It's fairly rare, actually, that the building ever goes down in a matchup on Longre, unless the game progresses forever and ever. It just never ends.
It's no church. It's no Samoa church.
No, it's no church, but it's not far from it, really. We did have... What kind of a build order? I've seen Volts and a bike. What else do we have from KeyofWall?
MG, Volt Bike MG. This kind of build order is something that I know Guderian uses quite a lot, and some of you guys who saw the game, which I believe was between Guderian and Malin, we saw a very similar build order to this. The idea with this kind of, where you get the bike secondary and you still get quite an early MG, the idea being that against a standard 2-engineer start, you have a great advantage because he's going to have 2 rifles versus your Volk, MG, and bike, which is way, way more firepower.
Yeah, especially if the US player, as Symbiosis opted to go for this game, went for a 3ES. He will only have the 2 rifles, but at the same time we do have the first Flamer upgrade coming in for the engineers on the right-hand side, stopping the Pios. But the decap went in on the fuel, so he lost a good 10 fuel income there.
Yeah, he's moving quite aggressively upwards. I think KeyofWall knows that there's been a multiple engineer start, so he knows he should have the advantage in fighting units, and a good way to sort of macro counter that is by being more aggressive in the early game, which really punishes your opponent for not having so many rifles on the field as you have Volks and MGs.
Yeah, KeyofWall is really banking on the center of the map of Longre, but at the same time we do have engineers on the left-hand side at the high munitions there, which aren't able... KeyofWall isn't able to dislodge them until this happened. Pio popped a flamer. That was a nice attack.
Pyre Flamers, yeah, I think we've discussed this before, you know, whether to get Pyre Flamers or whether to get more mines. We've not actually seen any mines laid by KeyofWall, which is unusual for this map, I gotta say, just given the amount of easy munitions access the Valorant player has. Normally you see very quick mines, but I know that DevM does this as well. He gets a very quick flamer. The reason is that there are such crucial buildings. There's the crucial building right next to the +16, which if camped, as we saw it was with an engineer squad, is very powerful and can deny the +16. And then you have this middle building here, so a flamer is very good for flushing those units out.
We have 2 Volks, 2 MGs, and a bike. Is that the extent of the tier 1 so far for KeyofWall?
That is the extent of the yeah, two Volks, 2 MGs, and a bike. So, okay. And there's nothing more coming out of tier 1. He is now making his move to the tier 2. Very smooth moves, and you know, he's gone for this kind of 4.5 unit tier 1. Which is, you know, the bike being sort of worth about half.
Yeah, and then you get some more anti-infantry capabilities with that flamer, so it's almost like you got a full 5th unit out of tier 1.
Yeah, exactly.
It packs a little bit extra punch.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, the Pyre Flamer is kind of underrated in a lot of ways. You don't see a lot of players use it because they'd rather get a mine, but a flamer can be just as devastating, if not a lot more devastating, than a mine.
Oh, he needs to get the Pios out of the building. On the left-hand side of the 16 munitions, we do have quite a lot of forces from Symbiosis moving in, but there is an MG and a bike, and that actually forces a complete retreat for all of Symbiosis' forces from the 16 munitions, so KeyofWall is going to stay in control of that point. At the same time, we do have an MG opening up on that strong building, but those rifles can sit there for so long, taking MG fire, without actually taking that much damage.
Yeah, this is one of the drawbacks of going for a tier 1 which doesn't contain a sniper. On the one hand, it means that he can get his tier 2 up pretty quickly, because even though he's only gone for a 4-unit tier 1, just like the more standard Volk Sniper MG, the sniper is obviously very expensive and he doesn't have a sniper, so he is able to get that tier 2 up very quickly. But of course the downside is, yeah, he doesn't really have anything to bleed constant manpower, and he is very much dependent on the US player on the US player attacking him directly to cause manpower damage.
But I think KeyofWall has caused quite a bit of manpower damage. Symbiosis' 4th rifle came out fairly late. His supply yard just got completed in the base. He hasn't built anything like a triage or anything. He's going straight for the motor pool, no bar upgrades. I have not seen anything apart from engineer upgrades in the form of flamethrowers and minesweepers from Symbiosis so far. So I guess he's just gonna go for the M8, I'm presuming at least.
Yeah, M8 seemed like a good plan. He is getting that motor pool up and he's building it with several engineers, so I'm guessing he has some kind of a fuel surplus at the moment that he wants to
He has enough fuel to build M8 instantly. He's got 37 in the bank, even losing the fuel on the far left-hand side. He still has enough fuel to pump out that M8. It's just a matter of manpower at this time.
That's one of the few things actually. One of the few ways that a US player can get back into a game on Longre where, you know, Longre is just so tough against Wehrmacht anyway, is because there is just so much fuel. It's the map where you can probably get the fastest M8 out of all the other maps. You know, Angoville you have sort of one major +16 which can be harassed, so it's quite difficult to get a very quick M8 there. And on Senwar, again, you just have that +10. There's not a whole lot of fuel, but on Longra, it's very easy for the US player to control 2 or more +10 fuels and get out a fast M8. You know, he can start building at the 6-minute mark.
Yeah, they have a nasty mine. The only mine I've actually seen so far from KeyofWall was just below the middle VP in the crossroads there of the 2 roads. A rifleman squad from Symbiosis hit it, taking 3 casualties. And at the same time, on the left-hand side, we do have an MG, which is trying to stop these rifles on the left-hand side. They hit a mine from KeyofWall as well, so 2 mines so far planted, and both detonated in the faces of riflemen, taking the shrapnel up their nose, dying in the process.
Ooh, and Volkswagen run into a mine as they move in to try and cap some fuel up in the north. So lots of mines suddenly going off, and KeyofWall actually planting a lot of mines now. We got now 2 more going down around the middle. So I guess he's anticipating the M8. He has gotten the pack first out of his tier 2, so yeah,
first.
I think he knows. Oh, was there a Grand first?
Yeah,
oh, of course, yeah, there was Grand first.
He went Grand Pack, so he's still fearing the M8, and you know, it's not a bad idea considering he's seen nothing in the form of fuel expenses from Symbiosis. No bars, no grenades, no nothing. Nothing so far, and he has cost him quite a bit of manpower damage in a few of these assaults, but not that much that it would completely stall Symbiosis in a tier 1 state for this long. It's been almost 10 minutes of the replay already, and he knows that there's something coming out sooner rather than later. And it's actually not an M8, it's a T17, and a triage at the same time for Symbiosis goes up in the base.
T17, interesting. It's, I don't know, I mean, it's certainly not as versatile as the M8. It really lacks penetration power against Pumas and half-tracks and stuff like that. I mean, it can fail to penetrate a Wehrmacht half-track. That's how useless this thing is.
It fails to penetrate Pumas consistently.
Oh yeah, consistently.
Every time.
Puma. I mean, you'd think it was, you know, firing like BB ammo or something, because the thing just doesn't work. And against a pack, you know, it doesn't have very much health. It has less health than a skirted M8. The one main advantage is that it does free up a lot of munitions, which is why everyone associates T17s with field repair spam, because you have all that extra munitions.
Yeah, it's true. You don't have to spend 100 munitions on your T17, and you do get the increased health. Is it Vet 1 or Vet 2 for the increased
health? Vet 1, he gets the sandbags on the front and he gets the increased health.
And then it's fairly
as
tough.
You can see, look at that, more than half health taken off by a cloaked shot from the pack, which is just savage, really.
Yeah, all KeyofWall really needs to get in on that T17 is something like a Faust and 1 pack shot. We did have off-map, infantry chosen from Symbiosis, instantly put on what I think was the pack, but it started moving so quickly that it only took some gun damage from the 3rd shell from the howitzer shoot there. And that was basically it, but the T17 is now moving in. He's parked right in front of a mine, but he knows that the pack wasn't destroyed. He was trying to attack it with the rifles that were in the building before, but the MG was nicely moved away and repositioned and actually protecting the pack now, and he's forced to retreat that too. I think KeyofWall is playing a very, very strong Wehrmacht defense on Longra. It's so hard to crack this. You know, I haven't played many games of Company of Heroes of late, and a rifle goes down on retreat. That is bad. Very bad for Symbiosis. But Longres is, if the Wehrmacht players play very, very strongly and defensively, it can be a hard nut to crack.
Yeah, I mean, it's excellent Wehrmacht play, really. He's not lost any kind of bad engagements. He's never really been flanked from where his main force is, which is in the middle. He's never been run off the field. He tried to get a little bit greedy and hold on to the top fuel with a single MG, and that got flanked and pushed away. But his central kind of force here has been very, very strong. Yeah, Symbiosis having a very tough time. I was a little bit surprised to see the Vet 1 across the board kind of strategy from KeyofWall. He got Vet 1 support and Vet 1 on his infantry. Yeah, if it was me, I probably would have just gone for the Vet 2 on the infantry straight away and forget the support Vet, just to really hammer home the advantage you get from your opponent going faster, mate, because you can really deny a lot of veterancy, especially if you've had a good early game like he did. But what he's doing is actually, he's not getting that Vet 2. He's content with Vet 1 on support and on his infantry, and he's going straight to Vet 3. Sorry, Tier 3 after that.
Oh, okay. We did have the first little bit of a mistake, I could say, for KeyofWall. It's not a big mistake, but he did let both of the medics live. Only one carrying a corpse back to the medic tent that was put up behind the hedgerow in the American base from Symbiosis. And he was building barbed wire with Volt Squads, and they were in range, and they could have probably popped that medic while he was carrying the corpse back to base. But KeyofWall was obviously busy microing elsewhere. But, you know, very, very, very small mistake so far, and it's really the only mistake in this very strong play from KeyofWall so far, I'd say.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there. And you know, when he makes this very quick tech to tier 3, it's gonna really put the hurt in on Symbiosis, I think, because he's probably expecting to see a lot more tier 2, and that's why he's gone for bars. Because he's expecting to be facing sort of Vet 2 Grens or lots more Vet 1 Grens. But yeah, I think when we see a Puma or a Stoke popping out, that could be risky. And I think it was partially influenced that is the fact that he's seen a T-17. If it was an M8, it would be very risky to go straight to Puma after this. But as it's T-17, that's exactly what he is building. He's building a Puma because he knows the goddamn T-17 cannot penetrate for shit.
Yeah, that's the problem. He can't chase the Puma around with a T-17 and kill it reliably. I think, you know, you could get lucky and get a penetration here or there, but it's not like the M8. The M8 fires slower, but every time it hits a Puma, wherever it hits the Puma, it's going to penetrate it, basically. It can bounce, but it's very, very unusual that it actually does. But the T-17 is so useless, which is gonna force an AT response in the form of stickies and AT guns, probably, from Symbiosis, as he can't really afford teching right now.
Yeah, I guess tank depot would be what he'd do in an ideal scenario against tier 3.
He can't afford it.
He hasn't even seen the Pumas yet, and there's actually 2 Pumas queued up. He's got one coming out, and another one he's just started building.
Double Pumas against... You know, it's a good counter from KeyofWall to the barred up rifles. He see bars, keeps teching. Instead of staying in tier 2 and building more Grens for the bars to kill, he just keeps teching. I think he's really playing like, I don't know, it's excellent very much playing on long range. Textbook, really. Oh, look at that Puma, first Puma out from KeyofWall, headshots an engineer trying to decap the 60 munitions. That was not good. Not a fun time to be an engineer with a sweeper against a Puma.
These rifles are really having a tough time as well against all these folks in Grens here, and they're getting constantly reinforced from this half track. We do actually have Terror chosen, so the infield reinforcement is a big boon for KeyofWall's mini infantry forces. And here we go, we actually have the 50mm up gun on the Puma, so that's going to turn it into a real hard counter to the T-17 actually. That's going to be able to chase it and really put the hurt in.
Yeah, the upgun Puma is good against an M8, but the M8 can damage the Puma as well. But this time, the T-17 can't really harm the Puma, and the Puma can chase the T-17. It's a proper hard counter. You know,
ping.
Yeah, it just pings on the Puma armor. It's ridiculous, really. We do have...
So now he's got the Pack and the Shrek and the upgun Puma.
Yeah.
He's going to be very safe. I mean, I don't know what Symbiosis is thinking right now. If I was him, I'd be saving up to build a tank depot, but actually I can see he's gone for a supplier upgrade. I can see that he's teching stickies.
He went for the supplier upgrade before the first Puma was shown. So instead of saving that the 50 fuel to keep teching with, he went for the supplier upgrade, and you know, he probably still thought that he was gonna stay in tier 2. But now he's forced to build an AT gun because he needs something against that Puma. You know, it's good against the half-track as well. The T-17 isn't really a reliable counter to any light vehicles or any vehicles whatsoever, apart from the bike and the Schwimmwagen from the Wehrmacht army. Stickies as well, so he's got a little bit of both. One AT gun and sticky upgraded for his rifles. Massive engagements in the center, like everything's here! Massed up! All of the American army almost, except for one unit, and all of the Wehrmacht army is now fighting against each other, and there's things happening everywhere. MGs opening up on barred rifles in the building. We do have the Shrek friends trying to force off the AT gun to protect their light vehicles, the Pumas and the half-track.
That Pack, he knows where the T-17 is.
He's chasing him relentlessly.
Nice to get rid of the supporting
that was
rifles.
Awesome. Oh, this T-17 is Vet 1, so he doesn't have the sandbags. Oh, another hit! Whoa. The Shreks are right there.
If he had cloaked the Pack for one of those shots,
oh,
it might have killed it.
This Shrek misses! Hits the ground in front of the T-17. Otherwise, it would have been toast. KeyofWall is not happy with that rolled miss for that Shrek from the Gren squad.
Frustrating indeed.
very, very frustrating.
We have some more Grens coming out now from KeyofWall. So he's got his Pumas. I think he knows that there's no kind of tank depot tech on the way, especially as he's now seen, he's seen the bars and he's seeing lots of medics out there. So it's a more infantry-heavy play from Symbiosis. So he's actually, what is he building right now? He's not building anything. He's just kind of chilling out. I think he might be waiting to get Vet 2 on his Grens.
Okay, so KeyofWall is upgrading his infantry and getting some more of it, while Symbiosis is basically just stuck with what he's got right now. I see he has queued up something, or he just built something. What did he do? Okay, it's a howitzer going up actually in the base. So he's gone the right-hand side of infantry all the way down, unlocked the on-map howitzer, which can be a fairly good idea considering there's still 2 MGs in the pack on the field from KeyofWall.
Yeah, I think a howitzer is a good idea. I mean, a howitzer is very, very rarely a bad idea, honestly, against any kind of tier 2, tier 3 player, because he's going to have a lot of kind of stationary units. He does have a lot of infantry, a lot of support weapons, stuff like that. Stuff that's good to shoot howitzers at. And actually, we do in fact have Vet 2, as I thought, coming in now for KeyofWall. So that's really gonna lay the hurt even more against these rifles. They can get all the supply out upgrades they want, but then they can't get the kills and they won't get the veterancy.
They don't really have any veterancy whatsoever either. They do have a few kills, 2 kills, 6, 2. That's basically it, as he lost the 4th rifle and he hasn't gotten a new rifle from his medic tent yet, at least. There's the Vet 2 for the infantry, for KeyofWall's infantry, his grenadiers and Volks a little bit sturdier. There's the nice howitzer shot though. Takes out what I think was a Pio. No, he actually lived.
4 Volks. No, the Pio lived. Actually, it wasn't such a bad shell. Actually, no, I mean, 4 Volks is quite cheap to reinforce. It could have been a heck of a lot worse though. There was a lot of stuff clumped up around that area.
I think Symbiosis is doing good with his T-17. He is moving it, over to the center and then harassing some infantry, and then he also protects the rest of the infantry squads on the farther left-hand side, as he knows the pack is so slow and can't really relocate that quickly.
Beautiful mine!
Was lovely.
Beautiful mine. Takes out 2 rifles, loads of manpower damage, but he actually loses an MG on retreat to the T-17, which is now at Vet 2 with 13 infantry kills. So, say what you like about T-17, but actually it's proving its worth as an anti-infantry tool.
Oh, nice Gren grenade at the bottom VP outside of the Wehrmacht base, and these rifles are having a tough time fighting the grenadiers at Vet 2 on long range, even though they have the superior cover.
And we've actually got Vet 3 on the way now as well.
Oh, wow.
So he's got his 2 Grens, and then he's getting his Vet 3.
Oh, look at this rifle on retreat. The Puma just killed 2 guys on retreat while the grenadiers kill another one, and there's only 1 left alive. But it looks like the Puma is not going to be quick enough to pursue him on retreat to finish him off. At the same time, in the center, I'm not exactly sure. Have you been paying attention to that?
The center, a Gren ran up to try and get a cheap shot off with the AT gun, but it's still alive. Symbiosis is doing pretty well, considering he only has 1 AT gun. He is managing to keep quite a lot of vehicles and infantry at bay, considering his relatively inferior force. But I think, really it's going to come down to just keeping the base pin away so that he can get as many howitzer shells off as possible, because that's what it's going to come down to, really. He needs to get some lucky hits with that howitzer, because really right now he's just out-teched and outgunned.
Yeah, he's really outgunned, losing that 4th rifle, and the T-17 not being able to kill the light vehicles from the Wehrmacht player. That's his main problem right now. Puma comes in to lay in the hurt on some flavor engineers. But he is doing fairly good denying the 60 munitions from the Wehrmacht player. I'm not exactly sure if it's worth it manpower-wise. He's not really losing that much, but he loses a few rifles here and there, and a few engineers as well.
I think it is important, really, to try and deny the Wehrmacht player that +16 for as long as you possibly can, because, once he gets it back, you're just going to be hammered with all kinds of, munitions-heavy abilities. You're going to get prop ward all the time, you're going to get eating, grenades and stuff. So it is an important point to keep safe.
Sticky goes off on the half-flank on the far right-hand side. Grenades were teched for Symbiosis as well, giving him even more anti-infantry capabilities on his 3 rifles. Problem is, he's fighting Vet 3 infantry right now, and he needs to close the distance, and that's problematic when they're Vet 3 infantry.
Oh wow, that T-17 is getting so low.
It's getting so lucky, that's what he meant to say, I think.
Yeah, several pack shells. Okay, here we go. It's got to be aimed at the pack, surely. Pack in the MG.
Oh, there's the rifle reform from the medic tent. just got the icon on my screen. That's good. That means that Symbiosis now has his 4th rifle. And every rifle he gets is fully upgraded with bars, grenades, and stickies.
So hopefully, theoretically, he should start to get some veterancy rolling in. But, you know, with Vet 3 infantry he's facing now, and KeyofWall's got a real surplus of resources, he can really do anything at this point. He could even go the whole hog and start cranking out tier 4 units if he wanted to. So, you know, it's...
that would spell disaster for Symbiosis right now if KeyofWall kept taking Ostwinds, you know, against, you know, the T-17 circle strafing, the AT gun, ripping the rifles to shreds. He'd be forced to get more AT guns or tech, and Symbiosis is basically in a hole right now when it comes to both manpower and fuel. He can't tech. He's getting the bottom left-hand side fuel harassed over and over again by KeyofWall, and he's just not letting up. You know, he refuses to give that side of the map to Symbiosis. Even though he has a firm hold of the center, he just completely refuses to give the left-hand side over.
Yeah, he's fighting bitterly for it because that plus 16 is so important. And there is, of course, the plus 10 fuel up in the corner. And now we do actually have something being cranked out. Okay, it's actually a Neville from KeyofWall, so he's choosing to stick a bit more in tier 3.
Well, Neville against AT guns, good. And the houses, I guess.
Yeah, good against houses, indeed. Just, you got to be wary when you're facing an early howitzer like this, though. You got to keep on shooting and scooting.
Shoot and scoot. You really got to do that as the Wehrmacht player in Competitive Heroes with both your mortars and your Nevils. Do one cycle, one barrage, and then move away, and then do another one, and move away. Actually, Supply Yard Upgrade 2 just went in for Symbiosis. That's where all of his fuel just was spent.
More howitzer fire comes in, but actually KeyofWall gets kind of lucky and avoids losing the MG despite taking an almost direct hit. I think though, no, and actually Rangers now, interesting.
Oh, Grenadier Squad goes down to I think the 5th shell actually. The Neville opens up at the same time on the house, all around the AT gun and the rifles in the house, and the roof just vanished of that building.
Oh boy,
that strong building might actually not be that strong anymore.
Just as we were talking about how we never see it go down.
It's gotta go down this game. No one's...
T-17 bites the dust, finally to the pack. And these Rangers coming in, but I can see KeyofWall, he's just letting it get close and he's gonna prop war it as soon as he feels in danger. Because he's got that 100 munitions. He can prop war it whenever he likes. Which should be any time now.
Like...
if he wants to avoid losing too much.
There's the crew on everything. There's a nice grenade. Oh, it causes a few casualties, but MP40 volts.
I think that was a misclick steal.
On the
pack. Recruit it with the Rangers.
Yeah, well.
So, in effect, he actually lost 3 men out of that squad.
And they're pricey too, Rangers.
Yeah, they are pricey. 42 men.
But look, the hold has broken. KeyofWall has magically been forced back. I'm not exactly sure what happened. You care to explain that to me? And
there was
our
lots
viewers?
Of I think suddenly Symbiosis just started capping in lots of areas, so he sent units off to the left, while simultaneously, you know, more rifles pushed up on the right-hand side, supported by an AT gun. So it was just circumstance, I think. But KeyofWall's army is so big, and his unit preservation has been, by and large, so good, with the exception of that single Gren loss. He's actually not lost a single unit. So he's, I think he's, and he's actually, in fact, he just unlocked the KT. Just unlocked the KT. That's a very, very quick KT, actually.
26
very quick
minute KT.
Normally, you don't see KTs until after the 30-minute mark, so obviously it's a good sign of the amount of killing he's been doing.
Well, it's been causing a lot of manpower damage to Symbiosis throughout the game in the form of killing rifles. Just looking around on his units randomly, he's got a lot of kills on basically everything. You know, 14 on a Gren, 18 on a Volk, 20 on a Volk. I guess, you know, you don't actually need to have those snipers, as, you know, the current metagame states, to cause manpower damage to an American player. You can do it if you just play a very solid defense on longer, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a sniperless game, hasn't it, so far?
Yeah, completely sniperless. Both from Symbiosis
I'm sort of
and
wondering
KeyofWall.
whether Symbiosis might not have, you know, had a bit more success with getting himself a sniper, but I guess he just hasn't had the manpower for it.
No, I guess not. He's taking a lot of casualties in a lot of these attacks against KeyofWall. It has rewarded him with, you know, map dominance right now. He has cut the Wehrmacht player off on the right-hand side. Fuel took the cut off there, but the fuel on the left-hand side is still intact for KeyofWall, and I don't really think he needs fuel. How much is he banking right now, anyway?
Oh, KeyofWall, he's sitting on a ton of fuel, and he's gonna be eating the KT's manpower deficit for the next 4 or 5 minutes. So
this
he
might
can't
be problematic.
Really build anything else. But well, the thing is, he's facing one AT gun. And now the Weapon Support Center comes up, that KT could essentially roll forward and be met with virtually zero proper opposition.
Yeah, I think that Weapon Support Center right now might be bad.
That was a huge MG42 just got annihilated.
What else? Pyos? I see Pyo corpses.
I think there's a Pyo there as well, yeah. Pyo and MG crew blown into pink mist.
Is the MG still there? Yeah, MG is still intact actually. It can be recruited. Oh, it's still intact.
Nice
the shells
nade,
are
nice nade, undodged. Nice grenade
from
the rifle.
Prop war on the two flamers leaves the AT gun undefended, however. And here comes the MP40 Volks. They're not that good on the move, but against an AT gun, yeah, but against an AT gun, you don't really need to be that good. It can't really defend itself, so it's just forced to run back to base, really. And we do have the first sniper queued up in the WSC from Symbiosis, so that's going to be a good counter to all this vetted infantry, because his BARD rifles are just not getting any veterancy whatsoever. The only thing really doing any killing so far, like proper killing, is that howitzer, and that's not really helpful in an engagement.
I'm just noticing lots of defensive mines here from Symbiosis, especially around his cutoff.
Yeah.
And around the sort of the flank to the cutoff there as well.
They've been there for a while, I think.
He's very wary about getting base pinned.
You're just getting, you can sneak into the American base on long range if you just use the barracks to block the firing arc for the MG nest. You can just waltz right into the base.
Yeah. KT's being forced back with the threat of stickies, but and actually Symbiosis is taking a lot of ground recently. He's pushed KeyofWall back to that little sort of defensive area on the left-hand side there, and now with the snipers coming in to lay in the hurt, I think that KT's manpower deficit, it's always a bit problematic. You do get something great for it, you do get the big old tank itself, but of course you got to deal with the repercussions as well.
Yeah, he got a sticky on and got a damage engine on the KT, but he paid for it with blood and weapons upgrade for these Volks, most likely gonna pick up a bar. Oh, artillery bouncing the shockwave, killing the repair Pyos and a Volk.
Oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, Symbiosis is really putting on a lot of pressure, but KeyofWall's army is still very big. I really just feel that this is the calm before the storm, where he just collects himself.
Picks up the pieces of his army, repairs everything.
He's just been taken back a bit by the momentum from Symbiosis, I think. He's had a lot of tech coming out, taking advantage of that lack of sort of pushing power from the manpower deficit. But pretty soon he's going to be able to move forward again.
Yeah, that sniper is extremely offensively placed, and that was basically just floating around at the KT, taking pot shots at everything. That was very, very dangerous if the KT would have gotten a shot in on him. Because, it's not the best anti-infantry force in the game. The KT is way better against vehicles. But the splash damage is still enough to kill a pesky little sniper. They have such low HP, they can't really defend themselves against tank shells.
Yeah, exactly.
Nebel's going down at, I guess, the AT gun.
Yep, coming down the AT gun. Wow, 17 kills on that howitzer. It doesn't feel like it's been firing that often. But
it's gotten a few money shots, the MG, Grand Squad and stuff like that.
Few nice hits, it's making its worth back.
And right now, Symbiosis is starting to float manpower and stuff, and he just unlocked off-map combat group. So he's just gonna wait for that magic 800 manpower before he starts pumping out units, and hopefully he can get some TD units maybe. I don't know, what do you think the best mix for him would be right now? What does he actually need?
I think getting an AT wall would be quite nice if you got from OMCG. Yeah, there are Nevils, but of course, there's only one Neville.
Yeah, you need more.
Fire multiple AT guns, so.
Oh, the MG was recruited and instantly killed. And I think the gun got destroyed, so that's not recruitable.
Is probably going to go down as well.
Oh yeah, that is very damaged. The King Tiger actually has his engine back, which is good, and he can maneuver fairly quickly again, as quick as a KT can move, which is not that quick. There's an off-map used somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where it's going down. on the repair bunker, I think?
Repair bunker, yep. On the repair bunker, and of course these are terror bunkers rather than defensive bunkers, so they're normal health and not able to do...
Off-map cover group nets him an M18, 1 AT gun and 2 rifles.
Okay, so flood the field with rifles. It's always a worthwhile strategy.
But they're fighting Vet-3 infantry. I'm not sure how much success these rifles will have, but still good. He got 1 AT gun out of it, so that duplicated his numbers of AT guns from 1 to 2.
KT plugging away, 14 kills now. Sniper also plugging away with 6 kills. I'll be interested to see how KeyofWall tries to counter this. Some players try and go for the bike, even late game, just go for a little bike zerg, and if it works, it's great. It's very manpower efficient. Some players, he might be inclined to go for the sniper.
He's inclined to charge him down with MP40s, it seems.
Well, that's never a bad idea, especially when you can take it that down low.
Oh, he gets killed off! I think that was a stolen bar.
Stolen bar,
yeah.
Killed
by your own equipment.
Your own weapon.
Killed by your own army's equipment. It's not good. Wow, that's a lot of rifles. I see 6 rifles.
It is a lot of rifles, but that's a lot of reinforcing as well. You know, you get that little boost, that little, you know, lovely point just after the OMCG when you have this critical mass of units, and it feels fantastic. And then a few seconds later, you know, you're looking at all these 2-man rifle squads thinking, wow, this is a lot of useless manpower.
Yeah, especially when they're unvetted rifles fighting vetted infantry. It's not really, you know, the math doesn't add up. And, you know, I think you're pretty strong believer of not reinforcing those rifles and then using them as capping bait or something, just to distract your opponent. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. Those OMCG rifles, normally once they've had their their first due, I won't bother reinforcing them. I'd rather get more OMCG, more proper full units. The you know, 2-man rifle squads are very useful. It just, you know, constantly sort of nagging the edges of your opponent's territory. It's very annoying for him, especially, you know, because it feels so out of proportion to have to send a whole Vet-3 Gren squad to go and deal with your 1-man rifle.
Yeah, and as long as there's 2 men on the rifle squad, you have a fair chance of retreating in time. You still have the 2 bars. You still have the 2 weapon slots used out by the bars. You can still throw grenades and stickies with it. If he just charges over there with like a half-track, starting pushing your stuff around, you can just sticky it, just to be even more annoying to your opponent. And it's not really costing you anything.
Yeah, exactly. Look at all this stuff
this
here
Nebel,
in the middle.
though.
I would love to see. Oh, this Nebel could be
This
really
Nebel
nasty.
hits this AT gun at the repairing engineers. The spread is fairly wide, though. Wow.
Gets the suppression off, though.
It wasn't even close. Engineers are so squishy. They're afraid of everything, basically. But the drain is back on Symbiosis, down to 236 VPs compared to KeyofWall 355, and there's stuff and things happening all over the place. SMG Rangers forcing off Vet-3 Grens on the further right-hand side. I think he's going after the Puma, maybe looking for the pack as well. We did have the M18 full repair. Both AT guns are forced back due to all of the infantry retreating for Symbiosis, and these vetted Grens are just chasing everything mercilessly, combined with the MP40 Volks moving up as well inside of the US base now, trying to decrew these AT guns. Does he have anything on the right-hand side of the Terror Doctrine unlocked, like a V1 on the AT, the Howitzer or something?
He is not quite there yet.
Damn.
He's got Firestorm with 1 CP, but you know, I think the V1 is at 4 CPs after Firestorm,
I think so.
It'll be a little while before he gets access to the big gun. And actually, one of the things about this map and the way that Symbiosis is located as Howitzer is that the V1 actually has a lot of trouble hitting it. Often it will land just short of it, and actually the Howie will survive, although it might get decrewed.
Yeah, maybe you could talk a little bit about that a little bit more for our more newer viewers, as we are aware. You know, why is it that V1s come in at a directional angle and it always comes from the map side where the Wehrmacht base is located? You know.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not entirely sure of the physics of it. I mean,
I know it's angled.
Yeah, it's angled,
and it can hit things on the way.
I think when you place it just in front of something else, when there's another base building, that one tends to take the flak of it. And I think often, you know, the triage and the MG nest will go down if it's aimed there, but actually it will fall short. Anyway, hopefully we get a chance to see it in action, and then we can analyze it in great physics detail.
Yeah, we've got a few episodes with the V1 cams, if we could call it that, which have been pretty epic. I always enjoy editing that picture-in-picture thing in when the V1 comes in and hits the howitzer, because it's literally almost at least always on the howitzer.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's just the best target. You know, it's the only immovable target. You do occasionally see like amazing, like predicted V1 shots where someone, you know, knows where his opponent's going to move his troops, and you just get these amazing shots. But
there's an off-map used on the left-hand side. I think a full Gren squad went down on the +10 fuel, just as Symbiosis was attacking on the right-hand side against Vet 3 Grens. But the KT was there to defend them against the SMG Rangers, and KeyofWall was attacking in the center with his 2 Gren squads, and no, 2 Bolt squads and 1 Gren with a Shrek. And he was distracted elsewhere and actually lost an entire Gren squad now. So slowly and steadily, the American player Symbiosis is basically grinding down the Wehrmacht army now, unit per unit, very, very slowly and passively doing it. But he's getting there.
yeah, I mean, well, actually, I think a bit of a response to these kind of, you know, squishy infantry getting KO'd by artillery is KeyofWall actually switching tactics. He's now got 3 Pumas and he's just got Vet 2 on them. So I think he's going to try and go a bit more vehicle heavy.
Do you reckon he should have kept taking Tier 4? Maybe get, you know, a P4 or something against the off-map combat group, which will only net you things like M18s and M10s. It will never give you a Sherman, for example, which the P4 has a little bit of trouble penetrating sometimes. But the M18s, the P4s have no problem penetrating, as they are made out of paper.
Yeah, I think you know, some P4s would be a nice luxury against, you know, the Rangers and sort of the infantry charges, but I don't really think it's necessary at this point. Not when, you know, Symbiosis is prepping to fight, you know, this huge super tank. If you throw more big tanks in, he's already got the counters to it. So it kind of defeats the whole point of teching in that you're getting something your opponent doesn't have a counter to, and it's more just you're just improving your ability to do what you're already doing quite well, which is kill your opponent's infantry.
Yeah. M18 takes down a Puma that got stickied while it ran past or drove past some rifles. And they've actually got the first stripe of veterancy apart from the Rangers now. 1 vetted rifleman squad in this strong building now, but it is getting fired upon by a lot of things, and he can't hang around there for too long. We do have the Shrek Grants, I think, in the center. They were going after the AT gun, forced off due to sniper and flamers. We did have the Nebel get unmapped howitzer to death as well. I think it's still recruitable. Yep, it's in KeyofWall's base, still recruitable. This M18 is actually not moving, and there's a Shrek Grant right in front of him. There we go. But yeah, M18's snipe-tastic. That's Vet 3 Grens. They shouldn't be able to be sniped. It should just be impossible. It's not fair. It's an AT tank.
We've got another free Gren here. That's the second free Gren we've had in the game, I think.
Nice.
From the medic bunkers. So once again, medic bunkers proving themselves to be ruthlessly efficient.
I'm not exactly sure. I think that Symbiosis self-destructed his medic tent after getting that 4th rifle back. That has to do with his manpower income, would you reckon? Because I've not seen any, there's no signs of explosions around it. You know, like the Nebel taking it out, or Shreks hitting it around the ground and actually missing and creating craters.
Yeah, I
it's
guess.
just gone. He must have self-destructed it. Yeah, there's a little mast there, that's it. Why does the medic tent, actually have a mast? Why does it have that? You know, the damaged rifles on their walkie-talkies, like, come pick me up!
Oh wow, the repair piles just got nuked. Repair piles have it really bad in this game. They don't get any guns. They don't get, like...
It's the unfairest job of competitive heroes.
Yeah, and since the latest patch, well, I say latest, since 2.602, when you have a sniper on attack move, he will actually target them now. Repair piles are targeted instantly as if they were regular units.
Yeah, just like they were regular pios. It's not really fair. It's kinda similar to the medic's job not being that fair either. They just walk out, you can't control them or run away from stuff. They have to walk around themselves, the AI takes over and just magically does it for you. And then they get shot by everything, because everybody hates medics. Because it produces new units. We did have another off-map combat group, another Hellcat, 2 rifles, and a mortar. I don't think that's exactly what Symbiosis wanted. More rifles.
Yeah, I mean, he's sort of...
It's a bit too many now.
Really. Oh, no, he's going into the base. He's got a V1. He's got a V1 loaded up. That's what he's going for here.
Did he get it off? Did he get it off?
Yep.
Ah, nice. You got it?
V1. Yep, I got it.
I can hear it. The roaring thunder of the V1 is approaching the American base, and there's literally nothing they can do about it.
Yep, here it comes. It's coming in at a bit of an angle. And would you look at that? I don't know whether... Because it landed where the triage was, where the supply yard was. And you can see the splash damage reached all the way to the weapon support center, but judging by his reaction, I don't think that was actually where he was aiming.
No,
so I wonder whether the V1s
not.
just have a hard time targeting that particular part of the map.
Scatter? Inherent scatter, maybe? I'm not sure.
Maybe.
If
I didn't realize V1 had scatter. But
I think all of maps have scatter, including the V1s and things like that. And I saw that the on-map was firing and actually destroyed a medic bunker, so I guess he didn't take it out. The howitzer?
Yeah, yes, he did, yeah.
The on-map howitzer is still intact. Huh. Magic.
Pressure is actually mounting on KeyofWall now. He's having to micro so many units at once. He's beginning to get sloppy.
There's a lot of stuff going on. He's angry at that sniper. He wants to get out of there. He wants to kill the AT guns as well. And at the same time, he's trying to protect his light vehicles like his Pumas and the KT, obviously. He doesn't want to lose that now after have paid that manpower punishment you get for calling on the KT. There's the ghost at the AT gun. 2 AT guns actually decrewed now. The AT gun wall is no more, and he just needs to permanently destroy these AT guns, denying Symbiosis from recrewing them to, you know, give his KT even more of a fighting chance, because right now it's not looking good.
The mortar just got blown to little tiny pieces. And there's lots of carcasses around the place, lots of Puma carcasses. He's gonna, you know, that's the great thing about the Wehrmacht late game. You know, even when you start losing your tanks and things like that, losing your Pumas, you can just spam Goliaths with all the munitions you get.
Oh yeah. It's fairly rare that you see Goliaths actually at high level play. It's just because they rather get
people forget. People forget, honestly. If you ask people what their opinions are on Goliaths, they think, oh yeah, Goliath's pretty awesome actually, but it's just, you know, I always forget to get them. Because you don't look at a bunker and you know, look at the Goliaths and think, I'll get a Goliath. It just doesn't occur to you, but there are plenty of times, I mean...
Oh, wait, I think we just had a counter snipe from the Axis sniper.
I think that was a counter snipe. And that was actually inspired assault popped. I wonder if that was meant to be a firestorm. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe he wanted the sniper to really get the counter sniper faster. Or I
wonder if that. I've got to look into that actually. Inspired assault effect on snipers, because it definitely got an effect from snipers, but I'm just not entirely sure what inspired assault actually does. I know it increases like firepower at the expense of received accuracy, but I wonder
it's
if
reload
you could get, like,
and stuff like that, and then you take more damage.
Yeah, I wonder if you could like increase your chances of a counter snipe. That would be quite cool. I never thought of it like that.
50 munition counter snipe ability.
Yeah, well, I mean, if, you know, if you're playing like a Vet 2, Vet 3 sniper, then why the hell not?
Yeah, but KeyofWall finally built a sniper to take care of that pesky American sniper, which, you know, I say was about time. That thing was starting to get extremely annoying for KeyofWall, causing a lot of manpower damage. You know, killing his Vet 3 infantry, which is very sturdy otherwise, but not against the sniper.
Oh, his KT is is in dire straits. Luckily, he's got...
Symbiosis thinks that the KT death is overdue, and he should just die already. Why haven't you died? Please die. Please leave me alone. You're killing all of my infantry. You have almost 40 kills. God damn it, my rifle just went down on the right-hand side to a Puma. And KeyofWall refuses to let his KT die, microing it even on the brink, at the brink of death. He just refuses to lose it.
Well, that's the thing, you know, about the KT. You got to keep it alive, because once you lose it, you lose your sort of your main AT. You know, there is no there's mega tank, but that's it. You know, that these Hellcats would have an absolute field day if the KT died. So it is.
Not exactly sure what he's going after now. Is that another V1?
Firestorm. That's a
Firestorm, an AT gun.
Actually.
And the WSC, so if the WSC goes down, there's not going to be an enemy sniper from Symbiosis, making KeyofWall sniper completely untouched on the battlefield, most likely. But the Firestorm is actually missing everything.
He's
got the AT gun.
Very, very slightly. And
AT gun's probably going to get destroyed
out as well, but... Oh, wow, Vet 3 Pumas are actually not doing as much as I thought they would.
Sometimes they really lay in the hurt, but I think you really need to stay stationary. You know, the Ranger armor is fairly durable and tough as well. Is that pesky on-map firing again. Yeah, now on the repair bunker. Takes it down in the first shot, I think.
Ooh. All I can see is the little bits from the top.
Yeah, small bits
little
of
step
metal.
ladders. Oh wow, the KT is almost like, it's like 75% health again. That's going to be a depressing sight for Symbiosis. He's going to be like, yes, I nearly taken it down. Just one little Hellcat rush. And then he's going to see it, and it's going to be almost full health, and it's going to be horrible. He's actually getting tank veterancy because he's started building himself some Stugs. It's almost like he's preparing for the death of the KT. He knows it might happen, so it's time to start getting some auxiliary AT.
Symbiosis is pushing hard for that KT kill. He's been doing that since it came out 20 minutes ago or so. He's been pushing for that the KT kill with his off-map combat groups and his AT guns. And he's almost gotten it. But just barely survived. So I guess Stugs is not a bad idea, apart from running into 2 Hellcats. That's a bad idea.
They penetrate with those shots.
3 shots in a row. Here comes the KT now. Back with the engine intact again, even though it's not fully repaired. Surprising.
Oh, he's back with a vengeance. Get it?
That was even worse than my jokes.
Terrible. That was terrible.
Hellcats see these shreked up Grens, and the shreked up Grens see them now.
Snipe, snipe, snipe.
No,
Wow.
not a single one.
Did we just see 2 shots that missed a Gren squad? Incredible.
Yeah, it is incredible.
I expect them to, like, you know, 1 shot kills 2 guys each, then they drop a Shrek, and then the Rangers pick it up.
But the Rangers have SMGs, so they can't pick them up, I think.
Oh yeah, it's true. They lose all their weapons.
All the weapon slots are gone.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure, but I think in a former episode we saw a comment about weapon slots. Do you have any insight on that? With, you know, bars and things?
One of the slightly more complicated bits of COH actually, because
bars take up 1.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember all the numbers off the top of my head, but basically, each squad has a certain number of slots with which it can pick up weapons. So some squads can't pick up any weapons, and some squads can. And what weapons they can pick up is dependent on the amount of slots a unit has, and how many slots a given weapon takes up.
Yeah,
so,
and bars take up 1 slot, I know that for a fact. And things like bazookas and Shreks, I think, take up multiple slots.
Bazookas and Shreks are both 2 slots, I think. But I think Grens have something like 6 slots, so you can have like a triple Shrek Gren. But I don't think you can get a quad Shrek Gren, because then you're out of weapon slots. And similarly, some weapons take up all the slots in a squad. So for example, if you have an MP40 squad, that's all of the weapon slots taken up for that bulk squad. So that's why it can't pick up anything else.
Yeah, if you go MP40s...
oh my god! This Vetri Puma just rolled up and
demolished the repairing. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 engineer kills in like less than 2 seconds or something. 1 burst.
Jesus, look at that, Vet 3 Hellcat. That's quite impressive.
12 infantry kills. That is just wrong. 3 light vehicle kills, so I guess half track and Pumas. And he might get another one off-map used on a new repair bunker from KeyofWall. He also put up a new, what I think is supposed to be a medic bunker. And Symbiosis actually off-maps his own Vet 3 Hellcat, goes down. That's not a way to go for a hero in the American army. Go down to friendly fire? Really? That is not fair.
It's when they make it to the afterlife. 38 kills in that Vet 3 howitzer now.
41 kill on the KT. I counter your howitzer with my KT. And it's all infantry kills. He hasn't gotten a single tank kill so far. Well, he's really going for it now.
But Symbiosis has actually been pretty smart with the way he's used his tanks. He's never committed them to any kind of huge Zerg attack and then lost everything.
And he's also defending all of his vehicles and his infantry with AT guns, nullifying the KT a little bit. The KT can tank an AT gun for quite a while, but you don't want to do it in vain. You know, completely pointlessly just sit there and take AT guns bouncing on the frontal armor over and over again, because you do lose health from every deflection. Sax's sniper is only at 3 kills. I've not actually seen it do that much work, but he's just going after weapon crews like mortars, AT guns especially.
What's he doing?
Not sure.
Decloaked by a mortar.
Vet 2 barred rifles might getting on retreat. He's retreating through all of these yellow cover craters, and it's actually going to be fine.
It's another V1 attempt.
Oh, because of
He's got the munitions. It's time for another V1 cam without the bush in the way.
Yeah, and Howitzer actually instantly repositions and starts firing, so he can get one last barrage off. The V1, I can hear it approaching. We do have two rifles just outside of the Wehrmacht base, attacking the Nebel.
I think this one is bang on. What he says is it missed.
Scatter,
well,
man.
That one landed poorly.
It's gotta be Scatter. The Stug is taking quite a lot of damage from the on-map Howitzers. Last barrage, and actually the main gun destroyed, almost killing it in the process. Very, very close for that Stug to go down, and the KT is taking flag as well from the splash damage as well. We do have, I think the Hellcat just took out something, or did it? Not exactly sure. Looked like an explosion. A Puma. Okay. There's no carcass left, it's just one wheel.
No, there is a carcass. It's near the field.
Oh, it's way over there, okay.
It's span out. So 2v1s and no dice. So moral of the story, howitzers there are invulnerable. Although actually, you know, for the cost of 150 munitions, he could have just, you know, given a Shrek squad like a second Shrek and just rushed with double Shreks.
Just walk into the American base, because the MGNS has been gone for quite a while, and everything else is basically gone in the base. He's had to rebuild his supply yard and his triage. Supply yard went up again. This is the second time he has to rebuild it, so the third supply yard going up. And I think Symbiosis really needs to do that, because he needs the manpower income to be smooth and steady, otherwise he will eventually lose.
One thing I should mention about killing the supply yard, because I can just tell we're going to get comments about it, is that if you, a lot of people wonder, if you kill a supply yard, does your opponent then have to buy all the supply yard upgrades again, over again? And the answer is no, you do not have to re-buy all the supply yard upgrades. All it really is, killing the supply yard isn't as useful as a lot of people make it out to be. It's really just temporary.
The sniper just died, and then he got stuck at...
He's on the back of the Stug.
In the Stug, and he's just riding around.
In the back of the Stug. And the Stug just ran him over. Jesus Christ, guys.
V1 failed, question mark, as he gets RD'd to death. And Symbiosis is quite happy to announce that yes, it missed again, and KeyofWall is not happy about that. And I'm not exactly sure why KeyofWall has not just claimed hack, V1 hack, because there's something...
I'm just wondering, actually, because
projectiles
can't fall outside the map borders. It's impossible. So if you put a V1 there, it's impossible for it to scatter behind it, because it's right on the map border. So that means the scatter can only be in front of it. Maybe that's why it's missing, but also thinking about it, if you put down a Firestorm there, I know that they changed Firestorm so it does less damage to howitzers, so technically it's not able to kill it. It would normally do about 75% damage or so, but it won't kill it, usually.
Yeah.
Although it still does happen. It still can happen in this patch.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, if you put a Firestorm down there, instead of the Firestorm rockets scattering wildly, because Firestorm rockets do often scatter quite a lot, it would, theoretically, only hit around the howitzer or just in front of it, because it can't scatter behind it. And all the shots that would normally scatter behind it should hit the howitzer.
Yeah, because the howitzer is just on top of the map border.
Right on top of that should actually beat the V1 glitch. It should beat it. I gotta test it.
The V1 is not winning anything in this game. The V1 is just losing over and over again.
It's just not, because I've seen this in a lot of games as well. Everyone puts their howitzers there for that precise reason. So I'm gonna have to go and do some testing, and I will report back.
Firestorm off map, or at the map borders, out of bounds of the map, and see what happens if it really clusters.
Load up cheat mod.
Yeah. Time to load up cheat mod and check all the stats in Core 6 and whatnot.
Although inevitably I just get distracted by having tigers fight Jagdhunters.
Because it's just so much fun.
Armies of sort of Churchills with Firefly guns fighting like KTs and stuff.
We did have, I do believe, the Nebel finally go down completely. I heard something break.
Gotta admire Symbiosis' persistency. You know, that's one trait he really does have in spades. Even when the early game seems to not go his way too well, he generally tends to be able to really make a good show of the late game. Unfortunately, I think in this instance, he just let things go a little bit too much in the early game. I'm not seeing him being able to come back from this. His rifle army is certainly been whittled down.
Yeah, his mega rifle army is basically non-existent right now. I think he's down to 2 rifles and that ranger squad. He still has 3 flame engineers as well. He does still have the Vet 2 rifle and 1 Vet 1 rifle, so all the rifles that has died, which has been quite a lot now. I think he lost 1 rifle in the early game, and then he had 6 due to off-map combat group, and he lost 4 of those.
And they're just running into the base right now because there's no base MG to stop them anymore.
And he's going after the sniper as well. He's forced to retreat back to the triage, but those grenadiers know where that retreat path leads to, and he's just gonna go after him.
Oh, and it's a firestorm on the base. It's on the triage. And the sniper's still standing there. The sniper needs to move. The sniper needs to move. The sniper needs to move.
Sniper's not moving, and the triage's not gonna heal a firestorm rocket in the face. Oh my! What? He actually is going to survive. That is one lucky sniper.
That was retarded. The off maps from KeyofWall, they've all been, you know, placed in perfectly fine positions, and you know, technically he should have killed like 2 howitzers and a sniper by now, but it just hasn't happened that way. He might get a Vet 2 Ranger though. In fact, yeah, I'm certain he will get a Vet 2 Ranger. No, no, he's dropped all the bazookas.
Yeah,
he's
he
left
dropped
standing
the
with
bazooka
just
before.
3 Thompsons.
He could stick it. He stick it to KT instead though. We do have flame engineers doing some form of
kills in that KT. That thing is big.
Yeah, 57 and 2 kills now, 2 tank kills as well, 2 Hellcats under his belt, I think. Unless he killed an AT gun, but I know he killed 1 Hellcat just now. And Symbiosis' army is looking smaller and smaller for every minute that passes with this replay that has almost gone on for an entire hour on Longre, with Symbiosis down to less than 100 VPs now. It's not looking good, very, very dicey right now. He's lost a lot of units, he's lost all of his tanks, his AT guns. The only thing that's really prevailed in this game for Symbiosis is that howitzer. It just won't die.
Yeah.
He is going for the VP in the center, trying to stop the drain. Down to 91 when he stops it and wipes the middle VP. KT does have a damage engine from the sticky, but he was not that damaged, so he's going to be able to be repaired up quite rapidly. We do have 2 repair bunkers? 3 repair bunkers? Yeah. He replaced the medic bunker with repair bunkers.
There's a lot of pyros out there.
He's now losing parts of the left-hand side of the map. 2 grenadiers now capping down, and he doesn't have enough for an off-map to stop them. 41 killed Volks. 28. Where is the other Volk squad? Does he seriously have 41 kills on a Volk? Inspired assault pops. But he's actually forced to retreat all of his grenadiers due to overwhelming numbers. SMG Rangers, bar rifles, and the flamers especially. Is that Stug already repaired, fully healthed again? Wow.
Jesus, that thing was low health just a minute ago.
It had 5%. Well, 3 repair bunkers, I guess. And the Stug doesn't actually inherently have that much HP. It's very low HP, but the frontal armor is a beast.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
like
especially against, you know, against Hellcats and AT guns, it just tends to bounce all day.
Sometimes. Not in this game, though. I think the Hellcats penetrated 4 times in a row, which was very lucky.
That's true, yeah. That was
you rarely
weird,
see that happen.
And especially at long range, because that's the one time where the patch made it so that the Hellcat was still weaker than the M10. Long range penetration still sucks.
Yeah, otherwise the M18 and the M10s are almost clones of each other now. They increase the speed and the acceleration and the acceleration and, you know, the penetration values of the M18. It's not an exact clone, but it's not far from it. You know, in the initial implementation, the M18 was the penetration was laughable, but the cloak bonuses was, well, that was also laughable, but in the other way around.
Yeah, exactly.
Did have an off-map, or is that an on-map? On-map firing on one of the repair bunkers, and the mortar is just sitting around there as well. Those 2 Bolt guys can't be happy, raining down artillery all around them. Vet 1 rifle actually finally goes down. And the VPs are going to be triple capped in the favor of KeyofWall soon. Vet 3 rifle.
Oh boy. Unfortunately, that's about the only vetted rifle there is. I mean, that rifle army has just been whittled down.
Well, it's the only rifle. Period.
Oh god.
He lost the Vet 1 rifle. And now he's got 63 kill KT. Yep, 63 infantry kills on the KT. It's been a doozy of a game, very lengthy. The Shrek was actually dropped but picked up and reclaimed by the Grenadiers again. Here comes an off-map combat group, but I think... Did he only get 3 units? No, he got another rifle. Okay, he got 2 rifles, MG and Hellcat.
Sometimes if you're near PopCap, OMCG it lets you call it on, but it doesn't give you your full 4 units, which is why sometimes you see some people get just 3 units out of OMCG.
Yeah,
but it still lets you do it. It's
I
really
thought
that's why
I thought he only got 3, but then I looked at the PopCap and he's nowhere near close PopCap, as he's not got that many units. So it was another rifle.
It's really unlucky when that happens.
16 VPs trying to wipe the middle VP now. Symbiosis fighting to the bitter end, which it looks to be right now, unless he can make some form of a miraculous comeback against KeyofWall's super solid defensive Wehrmacht play on Longre for almost the entire game. He's not been losing that many units in engagements. He's lost a few Grens here and there to off-maps and on-map howitzer shoots, and a few support weapons here and there. But apart from that, I think he's been doing very, very good. But at the same time, Symbiosis has killed a lot of Pumas, you know, Grenadiers and support weapons with his howitzers. Both players have been taking a beating for the entire game, really.
Yeah,
Where's this half-track going?
Real slugfest.
Where is this half-track going? Seriously? Is that howitzer again? He's gonna end the game with finally maybe killing that howitzer.
You should be so lucky.
Is it a V1? It is a V1.
It is a V1. It is a V1.
V1 cam coming in, picture in picture on the right hand side.
You might have to get the V1 cam.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh! I think it just blew up. It did just blow up.
Wow. So it does work. So it must be scatter. It must just be the scatter.
Buildings in the way, scatter? I don't know. KeyofWall asks if... I think he asked if the howitzer was still alive. It was not. It's finally dead.
Along with the rest of the US Army, really.
There's not much left. 4 VPs remains for Symbiosis. Some after-battle chatter going on between KeyofWall and Symbiosis, saying that Tier 1, Tier 2 Wehrmacht play on long range very, very strong. And you know, if you play it like KeyofWall did this game, it is very, very strong.
Absolutely. I mean, it was great. You know, even just getting through with just the 2 Volks and the 2 MGs and the bike, he still managed to put on a lot of pressure. And it just, you know, every time that we don't see a sniper these days, especially when we're digging through these old replays, it's like, wow, no sniper.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
There's a completely different story to the outcome of the game when there's no super early snipers from either player, really. The snipers came way like late mid-game, early end-game or so. That's when the snipers started rolling in. And it was only 1 from each side. There were never multiple snipers on the field at the same time. But it was a hell of a match, a massive slugfest. Symbiosis stuck in there until the bitter end, which was really, really well played from him. You know, the early game was quite devastating, and then he made a little bit of a comeback, and then he got pushed back eventually in the end. Either way, from KeyofWall's Wehrmacht play, very solid Longre Wehrmacht play. Great game, great slugfest. It was just, I don't know, it was great to watch, really. Very entertaining.
Very entertaining game, yeah. And considering it was such a long game, actually, it went past pretty quickly. It was pretty action-packed.
It was action-packed. I like that. Thanks, guys, for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and comment and like this video and tell your friends. And we'll see you guys for the next episode.
See you guys.